Hey, Joey T and the Snob. Going to do another episode for you today. And today's going to be on decanting and why we decant and how you should decant. I have in front of me a decanter. They come in all different sizes. Sometimes you see them looking like little a U-shaped or a duck, or they're just all kind of fancy. And again, it's just fun with wine. Joey T and the Snob, fun with wine. So, decanting. Why do you decant? Well, the whole thing with decanting is taking the wine from one apparatus to another. And as you do that, it embeds oxygen and the wine starts to, so-called age. All the goodness, as I would say, comes out of it, and you get a better tasting wine. And if you ever remember having a wine in your glass, let's say at a restaurant, and the last sip always seems to taste better. That's because the wine had time to sit and let the oxygen get into the wine. Now, should you do new wines, old wines, cheap wines, more expensive wines? Again, have fun with it. You can do both. In fact, some say do the younger wines and even like the cheaper price wines to decant those, because you'll get more of the oxygen in there and it'll taste better than what the price point is. Now they also say don't on some of the older wines, you should decant it, and I'll tell you why in a second. You should decant it about maybe just prior to drinking the wine. So the reason why you do an older wine is what I said before about having it oxidized, but it's already been aging in the bottle. What you really need to be doing is watching the sediment. The sediment in older bottles can pour into the glass. So that's why you decant it, so that you can leave the sediment in the bottle. There's a couple methods of doing decanting, especially at the restaurants. It's more pomp and circumstance, but also they have kind of an apparatus that sits on like a little cradle, and underneath the cradle is a light or traditionally a candle. And what it's doing, it's looking into the bottle, and once you see the sediment start to gather in the neck, that means it's time to stop pouring. You could certainly have the rest of that wine in there, maybe get a screen and put in your glass and screen out the rest of the sediment. If you do drink the wine without decanting, which is perfectly fine, the sediment will make it maybe a little more stringent, something of that nature. So I always take the decanter, rinse it out a little bit, and if it's been sitting in your cupboard or wherever it's been sitting, may collect some dust. So I always make sure I do that. And when you're done, you should rinse it good. No soap. I've heard people say put some crushed ice in there. You can mix that with some coarse salt, something of that nature, and that'll help clean the bottom of it, because it's hard. It'll get stuck. You could even see, if you can see, I don't know, there's a little water that is gathered at the bottom. It's just hard to get some of the liquid out. So, should you do white wines too? Absolutely. White, reds, have fun with it. I think that's the key here. I've had this bottle standing for about an hour now, or 45 minutes. Let the sediment go down. I'll start to pour some. I'm not going to decant the whole bottle, but just if you pour it slowly, and as you start to, this bottle is quite dark, so it's hard to see where that sediment would be. But as it's splashing around in there, it's getting the air into the wine. You could even use a blender. I've heard people say, "Let's do a blender," and you'll certainly get the air into the wine. So this looks really good. You can certainly swirl it. I'll probably pour this when the guests come over, and then decant the rest. So hopefully that helped. Don't be afraid of decanters. Again, old, new, young, old, cheap, inexpensive, expensive wines. Have fun with it and enjoy it. We'll talk to you soon. Hit that like button. Joey T __T at hotmail.com.